moments ago, I spoke exclusively with Rabbi Yisroel Goldstein. He called us from the hospital where he was just out of surgery. Rabbi Goldstein lost his right index finger when he was shot as he confronted the gunman. He's hoping this morning to keep the index finger on his left hand. I started by asking the rabbi when he first realized his synagogue was under attack.
As soon as I walked into the banquet hall, I heard a large bang, a large noise, and I did not know what that was. I thought Mrs. Lori may have fell or the table fell, and I turned around and I was face to face with this murderer terrorist who was holding their rifle and looking straight at me. And then as soon as he saw me, he started to shoot towards me, and that's when I put my hands up, and my fingers got blown away. And then he continued on and just killed Lori Kay right there on the spot. I turned around and I saw a group of children in the banquet hall, including my granddaughter. And I just ran, not even knowing that my fingers were blowing off, and just hurled all the kids together and got them outside. They went into the sanctuary, got everyone out of the sanctuary to safety. And fortunately, there's an off-duty patrol officer during services who came in pursuit of this terrorist.
My gosh, I can't imagine what that was like. So the shooter came with a rifle, from reports we heard, and at point-blank range shot at you. You got out of the way and put your hands up, as you said, lost your finger. Lori Kay's name is not one we had heard yet. We knew a 60-year-old woman had been killed in the shooting. What more can you tell us about her, Rabbi?
She is a pioneering founding member of our congregation. She's an activist. I started this congregation 35 years ago from ground up. There's nothing there. It was an empty lot. And I was a young 22-year-old bent on building a congregation and making a difference for the community. Lori was the one who helped me secure the construction loan. And she has been a steadfast member, supporter, philanthropist, just a kind soul. Everyone in the community knew her. She was the type of a person who's the first one to be everywhere. Just 2 weeks ago, our youngest daughter got married in New York. She and her husband flew out to be at the wedding, to dance with us at our wedding. And she's such a dear friend. I've known her for 33 years, and I'm just so heartbroken and saddened by the senseless killing. I mean, you know, the Constitution of the United States guarantees freedom of religion for all faiths. And, you know, we are so grateful to live here in this country that protects our rights to live openly and proudly as Jews. One thing for sure, Willie, I guarantee you, we will not be intimidated or deterred by this terror. Terror will not win. You know, as Americans, we can't cower in the face of the senseless hate that is in anti-Semitism. You know, beneath the surface of every terrible experience, there lies an opportunity to grow and increase in goodness. I'm just fresh out of surgery, and much thoughts was running through my mind. And I just think to myself, you know, this horrific event must raise alarm and concern for the safety of all places of worship. And our government needs to continue to step up and help priority in securing our houses of worship. You know, I pray for healing during this time of pain and grief. And I ask that we all do something to add more light to combat this evil darkness that's out there. And that could happen through acts of compassion and loving kindness.
There are reports from congregants yesterday who said after you'd been shot, after the shooter had been chased from the building, you continued your sermon. Tell me about that.
Well, that I continued it not in the sanctuary, but outside as we were sheltering and waiting in place for the authorities to arrive. I got up there and I just spoke from my heart and just giving everyone the courage to know, you know, it was just 70 years ago during the Holocaust, we were gunned down like this. And I just want to let our fellow Americans know we're not going to let this happen here. Not here in San Diego, not here in Poway, not here in the United States of America.
Did he say anything to you? Was he speaking as he fired those shots?
Not a word that I can remember. So I cannot erase that face from my mind. I cannot erase the moment. And it's going to be embedded there forever. You know, with the loss of my index finger, it's going to be a scar for the rest of my life. To remind us of literally how vulnerable we are, but also how brave we need to be. Everyone needs to be a hero. Everyone needs to step up and do something in the face of terror.
Rabbi, I think a lot of people around the world will draw inspiration from that image of you having lost your finger and turning instinctively around to round up young children and your congregants to save their lives, and you did just that. Thank you so much. I know you're just out of surgery, Rabbi, for taking time to speak with us and tell your story and to send that message to the world today. Thank you, Rabbi Goldstein.
Thank you, Willie, for partnering. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.
Again, Rabbi Goldstein sharing with us that the 60-year-old woman who was killed as she worshiped on the last day of Passover is Lori Kay. Our thoughts are with her family this morning.